Okay, hi everybody, my name is Dovid Eisenberg. I'm the rabbi here of the Prestwich congregation, which is actually on Bury New Road. Been the rabbi here for the last 12 and a half years. My wife Miriam is a local and I married her 20 years ago, basically this week, 20 years ago. And we've been here the last 15 and a half years, very happy. And I've seen a tremendous change going on within Bury New Road in the time that I've been here. Shefa has come up. I remember when Shefa was built. Tam, many of the offices that were around that area from Little all the way through till Shefa have turned into Jewish offices. Many Jewish people have taken over businesses that were previously owned by Gentiles and now owned by Jews. There's really been a lot that's been going on Bury New Road, and the demographic has changed. The area and Prestwich that we're in has changed. So when I moved to Prestwich, it was mainly a Gentile area, and more people have moved into the area, so much so that it's spilled over now into another area of Prestwich that's become quite religious, which is over Bury Old Road.
It's a different community, really, isn't it?
It is. So my father-in-law actually grew up as a member of Krumsel Shul. I think my wife's grandfather was either president or honorary officer at the Krumsel Shul, and my father-in-law was part of the choir at the Krumsel Shul for many, many years, with Chazan Hillman, Chazan Hirschman, all of the old names, and unfortunately, as you said, the change in demographic has meant that shul has actually closed due to there not being enough people coming there. And people have actually moved in other directions. A lot of people have moved to Prestwich, then to Whitefield, and then to South. But also the area here, rather than being more traditional United Synagogue style, has really changed to becoming a lot more Haredi and modern Orthodox.
So I'm not expecting you to make any political, sociological points or anything like that. But what do you think about that, about the way the community's changed?
Right. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a shame that we're losing a lot of people over here. I think many people have moved down to London, and the reason for that is that the opportunities in London are much greater, both as far as employment is concerned, as far as marriage prospects are concerned. If you want to marry a Jewish spouse, people that grew up in Manchester say, I went to King David. I know everybody from King David. I don't really want to marry somebody that I was friendly with when I was a child. I want to meet someone new and try something new. And so they're looking towards London. I have members in my shul that are now at age 60 and 65 selling up here in Manchester, buying houses in London, having to take all of their savings to pump it in to buy this house, to add the extra money to already a very nice house that they earned over here to buy something much smaller, to be able to live near their kids, because so many people have left the community and moved down to London. And we had people that made a demographic chart amongst their friends. There were 4 of them. They said of the 12 to 15 kids that they had together, only 1 of them lived in Manchester and 13 or 14 of them lived in London, which meant that a lot of the Anglo community that lived up here has moved south. And so some of the community has been lost to assimilation, but I think a lot of the community has been lost to that migration to the centre, to London.
And so you must have seen, so you say you've been here like 15 years, and Mazel Tov on your...
Thank you, 20th anniversary.
Anniversary, yes. But your time as a rabbi has coincided with the rise of the internet.
Yes.
How do you think that's affected your community or Judaism, or what are your thoughts on that?
So, as far as I'm concerned, in the community that I deal with, the internet is actually something that people embrace rather than people shy away from. It's the Shrubberies is not as Haredi as some of the other communities out there, more traditional, and therefore people here embrace the internet. Throughout my time over here, I've started off with sending out emails with Divrei Torah, which I changed around then to sending out videos. I now do, for more than one organization, I do a daily video. I also have a thought for the day that goes out on 2 WhatsApp groups to over 400 people every single day. I have a weekly Dvar Torah and a weekly newsletter that goes out by email. And really, we do a lot of things via Zoom here as well. So a lot of the shiurim that I give are available not only in person, but via Zoom. And that's something that changed around in the pandemic, that we started using the internet even more than we had previously. We were using it, but we started using it to reach out to people. So we had Zoom minyanim all the way through. From March all the way till July when we reopened, we had about 10 to 15 people every single day, Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv on Zoom. And even though I had a legal minyan in the back of my house where everybody sort of kept to their own garden, etc., because we have 3 people to the back of us had 7, people next door had 3, so everybody stayed in their own garden, nobody mingled, but we had a minyan. Nevertheless, I was busy davening with my community on Zoom rather than davening with everybody else out in the garden and daven without a minyan, but the proliferation of the internet has allowed us in our kind of communities to really reach out to people that don't come to shul in person anymore and still are able to communicate or to feel connected to their Judaism through their shul in a way that without coming they can still be there somehow. The main thought that I would give as far as Pesach is concerned is that freedom is not physical freedom, but freedom is mental freedom. And so that you can be physically free to do whatever you want to, but if mentally you are enslaved to technology, to other things, then you're just as much a slave or servant as if you had been physically enslaved. And so the way for us to really gain freedom is to find those things that are shackling us, the things that are holding us down, whether it might be your mobile phone, whether it might be your job, whether it might be Twitter, whether it might be Facebook or Instagram, the things that you're constantly checking that are actually taking over your life and that are not adding as much to your life as they really should. You could have so much more life. That doesn't mean you have to shut down social media, but limit it. There are so many people that live literally with their phone in their hands 24/7, and you become a slave to your mobile phone. And I own my phone doesn't own me. One of the stories that I always think of when I come to Pesach is as I was driving up Upper Park Road or Water Park Road, it was very, very tight, and I scratched someone's car by mistake. And I left them a note, and the fellow came, and I said to the man, I said, I'm really, really sorry I scratched your car. I'm happy to pay for it. He says, no, don't worry about it. There are other scratches on my car. But I want to teach you something, young man. I said, what is that? He says, I own my car. My car doesn't own me. And therefore, it's an older car. It needs to get me from A to B, and it does that. Another scratch on it is not going to change the way it gets me from A to B. And therefore, I always think of my car as a thing that serves me, not as myself thinking of the thing that serves my car. And I think that's the important message as far as Pesach is concerned. True freedom. You look at so many people, and so many people feel bonded, even though we have more freedom than we've ever had in the history of mankind. Yet we have so much more mental health anguish. People are feeling stressed. People are feeling anxious. People are feeling depressed. And you ask yourself the question, how could it be that people have all these feelings of stress, anxiety, when they have everything in the world? But the truth is, even though they have everything in the world, they still feel very shackled. They still feel like something is holding them down and something is holding them back. And this Pesach, as you gain that freedom from the things that tie you down, you'll feel truly free. And a lot of those burdens will lift from you and you feel much better.